Daniel Martinez had always prided himself on his ability to crack jokes in the worst situations. It was a human trait that had served him well during his 3 years as a deep space explorer, and it was certainly serving him now as he lay bleeding on the sterile floor of an alien medical facility, thousands of light years from Earth. "Well, this is just perfect," he muttered, watching his crimson blood pool beneath him. The Zephyrian pirates who'd attacked his ship had left him for dead, but somehow he'd managed to crawl into an escape pod and drift until this station's tractor beam caught him. The doors hissed open, and Daniel's breath caught in his throat. The creature that entered was unlike anything in the xenobiology textbooks. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, her skin a luminescent blue-silver that seemed to shift like liquid mercury. 4 arms moved with fluid grace, and her large, opalescent eyes held an intelligence that made Daniel's spine tingle. Most striking were the intricate patterns that glowed softly along her neck and shoulders, markings he'd never seen on any known species. "Human," she said, her voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "You are severely injured." "Yeah, well, pirates aren't exactly known for their bedside manner," Daniel quipped, trying to sit up and immediately regretting it as pain shot through his ribs. The alien, he assumed she was female based on her voice and graceful movements, knelt beside him with surprising gentleness. Her 4 hands began working efficiently, producing medical instruments that looked more like works of art than surgical tools. "I am Liana," she said as she worked, "Chief Medical Officer of Station Kepler 442. Daniel, professional human disaster magnet." Something that might have been amusement flickered across her exotic features. "Your species has an unusual response to trauma. You create humor where others would despair. It's either laugh or cry, and crying makes my mascara run," Daniel said, then winced as she cleaned a particularly deep gash on his arm. "I do not understand this mascara, but your pain tolerance is remarkable," Liana observed. Her hands moved with practiced precision, applying what looked like liquid light to his wounds. The pain began to fade immediately. "Nah, I'm just too stupid to know when to quit. My mom always said I inherited my dad's stubborn streak in my grandmother's mouth." "Your family unit sounds complex," Liana said, and Daniel caught something wistful in her tone. "What about you? Got a big alien family somewhere?" Liana's hands paused for just a moment. "My people do not form traditional family bonds as humans understand them. We are created in synthesis chambers trained for specific functions and assigned to posts." "That sounds lonely as hell." "I had not considered it in those terms," she admitted quietly. As she continued treating his wounds, Daniel found himself studying her face. Despite her alien features, there was something unmistakably lonely about her expression, something that resonated with his own sense of displacement among the stars. "So, what's the damage, Doc? Am I going to live to tell embarrassing stories about this?" "Your injuries are severe but not fatal. However," Liana hesitated, her opalescent eyes meeting his, "the healing process I have initiated creates a biological bond. Your cellular structure will be permanently altered, synchronized with mine." Daniel blinked. "Come again?" "In simple terms, your life force is now tied to mine. You cannot survive extended separation from my presence, and I cannot survive extended separation from yours." The weight of her words settled over the medical bay like a heavy blanket. Daniel stared at her, his mind racing through the implications. "So, we're stuck together, like permanently?" "Yes." Daniel was quiet for a long moment. Then a grin spread across his face. "Well, I guess that makes us married then." Liana's eyes widened, and she leaned closer, her voice dropping to barely above a whisper. "In my culture, such bonds are considered sacred, if you truly mean this." Her 4 hands gently framed his face. "You're mine, now." The way she said it sent shivers down Daniel's spine, not from fear but from something far more complex. There was possession in her voice, yes, but also protection, devotion, and something that transcended species barriers entirely. Wait, are you serious about the marriage thing? Daniel asked, suddenly less sure of his joke. Among my people, when two beings share a life bond, they become eternal companions. In human terms, yes, we would be considered married. Daniel looked into her alien eyes and saw something he recognized. Hope. Here was a being who had never known family, never known the unconditional bond humans took for granted. And somehow, through a twist of biology and bad luck, she'd found it with him. Well, Daniel said finally, I've had worse first dates. Liana's expression shifted into what he was learning to recognize as her version of a smile. You are unlike any being I have encountered, Daniel Martinez. Yeah, well, we humans are full of surprises. Fair warning though, I snore. I leave socks everywhere and I have an unhealthy obsession with ancient earth pizza. I find these traits endearing, Liana said, and Daniel realized she meant it. As she finished healing his wounds, Daniel reflected on the cosmic joke of it all. He'd come to the stars looking for adventure and discovery. Instead, he'd found something infinitely more valuable, a connection that transcended species, language, and even biology itself. So, Mrs. Martinez, Daniel said with a grin, what's our next move? Liana's laugh was like starlight made audible. First, we complete your healing. Then, her eyes gleamed with newfound purpose. Then we show the galaxy what happens when human stubbornness meets Zephyrian determination. Now that, Daniel said, settling back as warmth spread through his newly bonded system, sounds like the beginning of a beautiful partnership. In the depths of space, surrounded by alien technology and bound by forces beyond his understanding, Daniel had never felt more human, or more hopeful about what it meant to reach beyond the stars and find not just new worlds, but new ways to call somewhere home.